are we on? That will be a yes. Yes, we are on. We are live. Apparently, finally. Oh, Gordon Bennett, that was oh so easy. Oh, Gordon Bennett. The wonders of modern technology, eh? This took me about half an hour to get online. Ugh. We are working on a new project today. We have a commission. So instead of working on our sticks, we're putting the sticks aside, the staves. We are going to be working on a pair of gloves. Some claws. We made them in the past and we're making them again. I'm not sure whether I'm going to turn this into a video, maybe a short. But yes, this commission is for a pair of LARP claws. Yeah. So we're going to be doing that again. So what we're going to be doing is basically making some LARP claws. Actually, if you just give me a second, I'll be back. Because I wrote all this down, I may as well actually you miss me? Probably not. Oh. Primary output. Oh, joy. Put the microphone on. Because, you know, it's important to be able to hear what I have to say. Yeah, the plan is to make some core, solid core, or at least sort of stronger foam core from the edge of the fingers, from the end of the fingers, and then cover that with softer foam, and we'll start carving basically. That'll give it some rigidity. Blah de blah de blah. So I have a plan in my head, but how that works out we have yet to see. You can never really see what I'm doing, can you, with that? Let's take you from a different angle. How about that? Yay, tripping hazard. So what we're thinking of doing is effectively the finger is going to come like that, and I'm going to get some basic foam that's going to yeah. Just kind of so so 4-inch. So 2 inches on each finger, 4-inch. Past the I'll make it a little less chunky when I've stuck it onto the thing. I'd rather have too chunky so I can remove instead of having to add stuff later. So that'll go. Two, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and their thumbs will basically be exactly the same, just shorter. So we'll make 2 more. There, job's a good one. just need to cut out a little groove for the finger. Oh, so glad I've got my good boots on. I say good boots. They're already falling apart. Idiot. Excellent. Now these have all got sort of a good side and a bad side because they're flooring tiles, so we're going to have to try and get that off. The easiest and quickest way is sanding. Let's see if this works. Yeah, that'll do. Whoa! Yeah, that's taken most of the nasty surface off, so we'll just do that 9,000 more times. Thinking about it, because we're using a sander, we probably should have a mask on. We don't want any more microplastics down in our lens. Perfect. but not least, perfect. At least good enough. So we have a lot of, that's the original side, and that's the sanded side. It doesn't need to be perfect. You don't need to get all of it off. It's just basically to give the glue something to connect to. Now I'll take this off and point you back over here. Whoop! Yay! How's it going? We good? Excellent. Huh. That may have been a problem. Okay, and the idea is to basically sort of jam these on and sort of glue them like that. And these will form basically the a solid or more rigid core for the gloves. We'll obviously sort of reduce them down on the edges. Could do with a sharper blade and hide that away in our special sharps. What we'll do is just shave them down a little bit now, because they are a little over chunky. The theme of these claws is primarily bone. The person who's commissioning us basically wants them to kind of look like defleshed, bony fingers. So once we've gotten it covered in the softer foam, LD43 I think it is, we'll start carving in joints. And the like. There's going to be a claw on the end. But that can come with the softer foam. That's where all the detail will come in. To explain where I've been, I just had my 10th wedding anniversary, and we spent it with friends in Malta. So we went to the Mediterranean and had a nice week wandering around all the old historical places. My family's originally from Malta, so it was kind of a fun return back to childhood holidays at families' houses whose language I don't speak. Oh, lovely. Yummy. That's old glue. So let's refresh it. Excuse me. Oh, my favourite contact adhesive. Yummy. So it begins. Once again, I have contact glue on my fingers. Oh, how I have missed you. Let's give that a stir to mix up the old stuff with the new. Lovely. But we may as well add some of the thin stuff. Oh, that probably shouldn't have gone in, but still. It's in now. Yummy. And now something to paint on the, let's use some of this. Just going to coat the fingers with a nice amount of contact adhesive. Now these are my favourite kind of glove to use as bases for LARP gloves, because they're nice and tight, aren't those sloppy kind, the big workman's gloves or work gloves. Give you a bit of kind of dexterity in your totally sort of undexterous gloves. They're a bit sort of tighter and you actually feel like you've got something on. And they're as cheap as hell. Passing the savings on to you. No, they're really affordable, these. They're only a couple of quid each. Pounds. You pick them up. They're nice and sort of relatively disposable, so if you mess them up, it's all good. I had a thing. It was a really well made thing. Well, that's unfortunate. I'm so well organised. How could I have lost something in all this non-clutter? Where did I put you? Oh well. I'll just put you there to dry off then. Ho hum. The burden of actually tidying up. I lose everything. Only when I tidy up, of course. When this place is an absolute tip, I can find things all the time. I know there's people going to be saying, what, and this isn't an absolute tip. This is perfectly well organised. I've actually been improving my organisational abilities. I've been 3D printing some stuff to help me declutter. Not much, because, you know, I ran out of filament. There we go. Number 2 done. And still haven't found the hangy thing. Move on. It'll appear eventually. And when you least suspect it. It's not. Nope. joy. Oh well. There we go. And there. And there. Come on. In hindsight, I probably should have sanded the inside of these down a bit just to make them a bit flatter, but it'll do. So since this is only going to be the core, it's not going to be necessarily visible or affect the look. Just as long as we have a good purchase on the gloves and we're adding a nice generous amount of glue, so I'm pretty sure we're going to have a strong join. Perfect. Okay. And there we go. And because the temperature's wonderfully high, I'm just going to stick these on my radiator just to give them a boost to drying. Oh, balls. That was not intended. Okay. And now we wait. What to do now? See how we're doing on the feed. Hello everyone. How is the world doing? Oh, same as usual. Nothing. They also want black pads on the palm because the person who's commissioned it actually wants to add the fur themselves, which I entirely approve of because I hate working with fur. Their plan is to sort of put the fur on themselves. Which is not a bad thing. So I'm just going to be making the base latex layers, sealing it all, and they can add on the fur with either contact glue or hot glue. I have a mixed relationship with hot glue. Sometimes it sticks things permanently, indelibly and wonderfully, and is awesome and amazing. Unfortunately, after a certain point, it just decides to stop working. Generally when you least want it to, which is not at all irritating. Okay, I think they're done. Nice and mostly touch dry. I've got that sort of sticky feeling, but not stuck. Oh, and again. Okay, so I want to jam these on as tight as possible. Like a dessert. And on the bottom, like a dessert. And one for the thumb. Let's make you the chunkiest one. Okay, that's one done. That on. And finally our thumb. There we go. And once again, these are only supposed to be kind of the core, so the fact that they look like crap doesn't matter. So next we're going to smooth them down, give them a bit more sort of round, and then basically cocoon the entire finger, sort of probably from about here, sort of, you know, just a little bit past where the these go on, sort of with foam, softer foam, nicer foam. Let's get my mask back on. Oh. How are we doing? Okay, and once I've cocooned these in foam, we'll be done for the day. Come on, you useless. There we go. Now we work. Remember, with multi-tools, they're rotating, so ultimately they're going to pull everything that way. So you want to sort of work with the pull. So it's basically you go from the sort of the end is away from you effectively. You're just basically softening those edges. So it's less, softening the edges so it's less obvious that we've got foam here, basically. The intention is to keep playing until we have something we like. And because the finished product's going to be bone, we kind of want it to be a bit knobbly and a bit random. So this is perfectly fine for it to be a bit sort of uneven. We just don't want it to be too uneven. Just take out all of the harsh edges and seams. Now, for these end bits, these are T-sets. The thumbs, let me just turn that on. The thumbs want to be much shorter, so we'll shorten that to about here. Oh. Just sort of come in about there. Once again, sort of there. blade is too not sharp enough. I think we want a new blade. Let's get a new one. Something fell. Oh dear. Oh, my blades. Oh yes, much less not awful. We're just sort of shaving off the excess, the bits we don't like. Give them a smoother, straighter profile. And this is the hardest part, always getting them symmetrical. There. Can you see sort of the way the fingers curl up a bit? That's because of the way that they've been grabbed there, hence why we made extra so we can cut off so it looks a lot shapelier. Gives them a nice trim. Oh, that's really wonky. The other side isn't that bad. And cut sort of that much. That's not that bad at the top. Just a little bit off the edge. Okay, and then once again, soften. shape and edge. So kind of just working with what we've got. Sort of soften down the edges, make it look a bit more natural. Blend it more into the fingers. So it looks like more extensions of the fingers as opposed to just strips of stainless stuck on. Once again, at this stage, it doesn't have to be perfect. It never has to be perfect until the final step. And even then, you're never going to get perfection. In the end, all you can hope for is something that will satisfy. Looks vaguely like what we're going for, or at least enough for people to say, oh, that's cool. This awesome and amazing artist who made those for you. The thing is with natural things like bony fingers, you don't necessarily want them all to look exactly the same. Because if you really look at your own fingers, they're not the same. Each digit is different. It's had its own trials and tribulations, grown in its own unique way. Yes, they're designed on the same pattern, your face is mostly symmetrical, but not perfectly. It'd be creepy if it was perfect. This is my justification of why I'm doing it like this, and I'm sticking to it. It's a bit more. The advantage of these being work gloves, you can do a bit of sanding on them and they'll not survive it. Okay, step one complete. We have, oh, thank you very much. Step one is complete. We have a pair of effectively Freddy Krueger gloves. The next step is to cover these with, basically cocoon them in some softer foam that will be easier to carve and we'll get more details in. So I just want to have a look. Sorry, I didn't catch your message until now. Thank you very much. Zoe? How are you doing on this fine Sunday? I'm making claws. Let's get some foam. Oh dear. This is unfortunate. Ah. Give me a second, I'll be back. I'm just having technical difficulties. The sky is falling. Well organised, properly prepared. Oh no. Just stay where I want you to go. Haha, and the illusion is complete. We have white foam. Whew. Oh, sorry about that. Oh, that's interesting. Yes, these are going to be LARP claws. Basically the intention is for someone to be able to sort of, in LARP combat, hit people. So we are now going to create foam, which is going to basically entirely go around these fingers. Like a dessert. We're going to cocoon these in foam. And this is going to go perfectly well. There's going to be no problems. And I'm not at all going to look foolish or inept, he says. We want to go a little bit longer, so that seems to be the perfect length. Yeah, 8 inches. 8 inches. Go away. Is that 8 inches as well? That'll do. I had some big chunky foam. Yeah, that'll do. So, around the finger. That's how long they want to be each. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6, 7, 8, 9, yeah. Stuff it. And play it by ear. Oh, stuff it. Yeah. As you can see, we do things very precisely here. Let that dry, and we'll start covering the fingers. Once again, nice and generous. Contact glue is cheap, especially in the quantities I buy it in. I find the best way to apply contact adhesive is to put too much on and then spend ages taking it off again. Case in point. That way you get a full soaking of the piece. It's nice and thick initially, and then you take the excess off. And you don't miss any anywhere. It's much better, I find, that sort of you've added too much and have to wait a little longer for the excess to dry. That way you get solid bonds. Doobie doobie doobie. I don't want things falling apart later on, because it's kind of difficult once you've gone on to the later stages to re-glue. Tips. Yeah, it's more likely not to dry evenly, but you can work around that. In the end, it will eventually dry. And better it takes a little longer to dry then it was never there to dry in the first place. This is just self-justification on why I'm making this look like an absolute mess. It's all very professional. I know what I'm doing. Honest. You know, and you can clean glue off yourself. You can't sort of add it on later if you've missed it. And finally, Das Thumb. There we go. We are all lathered up and ready to go. You can go dry. And we start lathering up the second one. And by the time we've done this one, hopefully the first glove will be ready for its main coat of foam. And then we can start adding the detail on, which will probably happen on a later stream. What I'm generally like to do is when I put a big bit of foam on, is give it a good couple of days. So once I've done this, I will come back on Wednesday, which is in theory my usual streaming day, at around the same time, and we'll start on the detail work. Sort of carving out the joints, the claws, and getting the foam work to a point when we're happy, ready for the actual latex to go on. Go. Slap it on and take it off. That'll do. Done the thumb, haven't we? Yep. Everything's nicely done. Now this is the fun part. The part where I definitely don't look like an idiot. Putting the actual foam on. Now don't fall on the floor while you're drying. Okay. What we'll do is we'll start off just wrap it. Oh, get lost. No, no. Oh, buggeration. Just kind of wrap it around. Just cut off so we've basically gone around that. What we'll need to do is just paint on a little extra around here. So that we can glue it around the edges. We'll do the same on this side. Bottom there. All the way around, and then underneath. That, and then cut it off with a bit to spare. Like that. And then on the edge, just add a bit more glue. So that we can wait for that to dry and then cocoon it over. Okay. Yeah. Sounds like I absolutely knew what I was doing. Come on. Just a bit more there. On to the next one. So, just sort of there, around. So we want the join to kind of be at the bottom. It won't matter where that join is because it's going to be well hidden and invisible to see. Off the excess. Just bring you a little closer so you can see what we're doing. So we bring the foam in and then put it over the top like that, and then bring the foam round. So that's sort of like that. And we bits. And finally, with the thumb, just round the edge. Once again. Glue around here so that it has something to stick to. Go. Just kind of let it stick to itself there quite nicely. Okay, and we'll just leave that to dry a little before we actually seal up the fingers. And while that's drying, we work on this. We don't have enough of this with glue on it, so we'll just come on. No, no, too much, he says. Yeah, there you are. Once again, just obviously the thumbs aren't going to be this long. I just can't be asked to cut the thingy shorter. So let's go just a little bit over the edge. And then between the fingers. Come on. And around. Cut off with a little excess. I think I've got enough glue on there somehow. And then we glue down here so that let's just stick that to itself. Okay. I want a little bit more. Get lost. A little bit more glue on this bit because it doesn't look sufficiently saturated. They always say better too much glue than not enough, because you can always remove glue. Well, you know, in this case anyway, with contact adhesive anyway. Blah blah blah. Let's just let this dry for a little bit. Should be able to do at least one more finger. Whoop. Okay. Yeah. Remember, all issues, errors and mistakes, we have the ability and the time to take out in the next stage when we start shaping and messing about. Why are you a bit wonky? Odd. Very, very odd. There we go. Take off. Do, 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 do. Excellent. Nope, 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 nope. Yes. Round there. And then around the pinky finger. Come on. Glue down there. And last but not least, the pinky finger. That around. And there we go. Okay, and we put that to dry a little while we get back. And here's one I made earlier. Okay, so this is the point where we just want to sort of try and glue it all together. While leaving as little underneath, little air gaps. I want to make it a solid block of foam. Likewise with this one, just sort of top like that. finally, Das Thumb. And that would be glove number 1 foamed. We now have basically a glove covered in a with a dense foam core covered with a less dense foam core. Next, we're going to let it dry, harden over a couple of days, and on Wednesday I'm going to come back and start shaping. Number 2. I finished on the thumb, didn't I? So we'll start on the other side. I think this may need a little longer to dry, but we'll see how we go. No, I think we're alright. Just came to just sort of completely contain that. Dries. The other way around with this, so we'll just come on. Go. And that's number 2. I'm not entirely sure I like the middle finger. Yeah, this is the middle finger. But can always be tweaked later. Perfect. A pair of claws ready for shaping. Good. And they're nice and bendy. So yeah, Wednesday. These are going to dry. Well, they're already kind of dry. It's just been a 2-hour stream, almost exactly. So we shall come back Wednesday around 1 o'clock and we'll have a go at removing these edges, smoothing around the fingers and sort of getting them nice and claw-like, and we'll sort of pick out our finger joints and stick in some claws. Yeah, that should be fun. I will see you all on Wednesday. Hope you all have a good weekend. Enjoy.